The Snowbird's ultimate guide to buying and selling in Phoenix, Arizona. To define what a snowbird is in Phoenix, Arizona, that's somebody who's going to live here when the weather is not as hot. So probably somewhere in the fall, winter, until about May. My name is Chuck Disney, and I'm with Disney Premier Properties at Realty ONE Group. In Arizona, especially in the Phoenix area, snowbirds come in different shapes and sizes. Maybe it is that you're stepping into retirement and you'd like to have a home here part-time, but you have a home somewhere else. I see this all the time. Someone has a nice large home, Minnesota we're gonna pick on. All right, so you have a beautiful home in Minnesota, but then you've decided, I'm gonna have a smaller house here in Arizona. Where is that smaller house? Is it in a 55 plus community? Or is it just in a regular neighborhood? Or is it out in the desert? There's lots of different ways you could slice that in terms of what that house looks like. Now, you could be that you aren't retired. You and your family just have the opportunity to come and go. So maybe you want to be here part-time, and you can. That also might determine what neighborhood you might want to be in. The other ones that we see here in Arizona are the Canadians. Canadians can't live here 12 months a year, so they do have to be here part-time. There are other things considered. You buy a home here, and you're going to live in it part-time. What happens to it the rest of the time? There are a lot of rules these days about it. Airbnb has gotten to be such a big deal. If you're going to rent your house out for part of the time, the conditions, covenants, and restrictions, also known as CC&Rs, get pretty strict about that kind of thing. It says, you can't rent the house out for less than 12 months at a time. Can you have a part-time renter for a month or two? Can you have them in for a night or two or a week or not? Those things can help you determine whether or not you can or want to buy a home as a part-time home. Here in Arizona, the snowbirds are usually somebody that's more in the retirement age. They're somewhere over 55. They come here, they live here part-time, and they go home, or they vacation the rest of the year. Doesn't always mean they have a second home. They might have an RV, or they just want to go stay and vacation, or they have a boat, they live on it. There's so many different ways that you could live here part-time. I live here 12 months out of the year, and believe me, there are a lot of people that live here 12 months out of the year. You've decided to move here to Arizona as a part-time home, and you've decided that you want to live in an active adult community or a 55 and older community. So Del Webb started the very first 55 plus community called a senior living community back in those days. January 1st, 1960, Del Webb opened Sun City, Arizona. 100,000 people came through that day alone back then because they wanted to come and golf and swim and bocce ball and shuffleboard and arts and crafts, and the list goes on and on. And in order to have that Sun City name in any Del Webb community, if it has Sun City as the name of it, it's because it has quite the laundry list of amenities that you can have. Now, when you're choosing your neighborhood, it might not necessarily be a Del Webb. It could be Robeson with Pebble Creek, Victory at Verado, which is built by DMB, Sundance, Cantamilla, which is part of Estrella Mountain Ranch, and the list goes on and on. Farnsworth builds them out on the east side of town, and so no matter where you're looking around town, you're going to find some sort of 55 plus community. There are a lot of them around. You can go to 55places.com. They have a list of those. Or come to me, I can help you with those too. And within them aren't just single family detached homes. Sometimes they're what they call Gemini plans or a duplex. You've got two homes in one, or it's a patio home, so it really doesn't have much of it or any kind of a yard. Might be one with a bigger yard. Or it's stacked flats. Maybe it's condominium style and you've got condos. It's kind of like an apartment building. Or it's townhomes, so they're all vertical. So there's, of course, never forget that 55 plus communities, if you did a search for them, you're also going to find a lot of them that are mobile homes too. And that's perfectly fine as well. But wait, there's more. You have to be careful of the 55 plus communities that have been around longer. If the neighborhood's been there for 20 years or more, or let's say it's been 20 years since the last key has been handed out, you can kind of figure out how old everybody is. Look at the neighborhood, choose some of those criteria to figure out which neighborhood suits you best. Now we have to talk about homes. A used car is an okay car sometimes. You buy a 1999 car, it doesn't have all the GPS, it doesn't have maybe all the airbags, it might not have all the things that we see now, right? So You have to admit that a car, I take my 56 Bel Air and I can drive that thing at 55 miles an hour. It feels like I'm doing 150. That old car is not as stable as my new SUV. I get in that car and I can put the cruise control at 80 miles an hour and it just cruises. So think about that with a home. Homes nowadays are really, really built to sustain and to use the least amount of energy. So they're less costly. I know I had a home that was built in the 90s, in the early 90s, and I have a house that's built 5 years ago. And the difference in the electric bill is night and day different. So the homes are built better. There's more smart technology. The technology in the structure of the home has advanced just like everything else has advanced. Now you've decided on an active adult neighborhood. Dwelling is really important. When you're comparing which kind of dwelling works best for you for your snowbird lifestyle, that depends on just what you want to do with your time. If you buy a single family detached home, you will have a yard and you'll probably need to do maintenance on that yard. If you have a pool, you're going to take care of the pool, things like that. But maybe you decided, I'm just going to live in maybe a condominium style. And so you just want to live in there, get in the elevator. Even some of these communities, by the way, they even have a big, large dining area and activities area. So you have that type of lifestyle. So it depends on what kind of dwelling you like, depends on the community you pick. So as we age, there are times when mobility becomes an issue. And sometimes, and it will always become a time when it's not going to be as easy to navigate. You can also get homes where front door stoop is just even, so you can actually get in and out easier. There's also grab bars in the home and that kind of thing. So depends on what you're looking for. Your realtor, like me, can help you find those neighborhoods and those houses that fit what you're looking for. And if you choose the right realtor, they'll help you think about these things, activities and your mobility and the things that you need to satisfy you and your lifestyle in your home that you may not have even thought about yourself. When choosing your realtor, two sides of the equation. Are you going to be selling your home? And are you not here all the time? You're a snowbird and you want your home to be sold. Pick an agent like me who's here and who knows how to handle the whole listing program all the way to close, even if you're not even in town. I can tell you, I've sold homes for people that weren't even here. I've listed their house, I've sold their house, I helped movers move the stuff out of the house, I've helped get in the housekeepers and the window cleaners and all of the other trades that it needed to get the house closed and sold. And all they had to do was sign via notary, and they weren't even here. Make sure your agent knows how to handle all of those steps without you having to physically be here. It's making sure that the house is kept up. It's making sure that the lights are turned on and off. It's making sure that there aren't any leaks. I can tell you that you need an agent who doesn't just put a sign on the front yard and put it in the MLS and walk away. You need an agent that's going to be there checking on your home, making sure that everything's good with that home. Every time there was a showing, to make sure the lights are on and off, to make sure that the keys are back in the lockbox, make sure that the air conditioner is set at the right temperature, that all the doors are locked, windows are shut, so that no one breaks in the house, all of those things. The wind will come along, it'll push leaves up against your front door, they're swept away, make sure that the the filter isn't getting filled up, all of those things. There's a lot to do for an agent who cares and is there all the time for you and not just putting a sign up and waiting for someone to buy the house. Now, if you're a buyer and you're a snowbird, you can also buy a home and not be here. I've done it many times. These days with technology, you can see a 360 tour of the house. We can do FaceTime or a Zoom call. You can go through the house. Maybe you fly in for the inspection period and you fly back. In the meantime, everything else is being done. You sign all your paperwork, you transfer money to the bank. All of that can be handled and you don't even have to physically be here, and the key will be here waiting for you to move in. Thank you for watching the video today. If you have any questions, you have any comments, put them down below. Otherwise, reach out to me, Chuck Disney, at Disney Premier Properties at Realty ONE Group at 602-617-9516, chuckwithchuck.net.